Warning, this video is intended for adult collectors. It contains plastic collectibles, questionable opinions, and the guy that wrote too many of these intros. You have been warned. This is Random Review.
Before we begin, thank you very much to Mark C. for joining my Patreon campaign. Thank you so much for the support and for keeping the train going. This daily streak is going to last almost until the end of the month. I might actually get to use my normal intro at some point in March. We will find out. Now, this is going to be a little bit scuffed, unfortunately, because I'm using my standard, my webcam, my good webcam, though, for this review. Because my normal can does not have a memory card right now. I feel like the last week has been nothing but scuffed content. But hopefully it's entertaining scuff. So today we're going to be discussing my dream come true, which are transforming D20s. Not only my Transformer obsession, but also my Dungeons & Dragons obsession, all getting a nice little payoff at the exact same time. So, this thing? Yeah, I was going to review these much earlier when they first came out. However, Wizards of the Coast was acting the fool. Since they've rescinded that, I feel comfortable promoting products from them again. So let's actually talk about Dicelings. These little plastic transforming D20s. I say little. These are huge compared to your standard D20. Very, very huge. I think even novelty ones are not quite this big. So, the idea behind a Diceling, of course, is to transform into a Dungeons & Dragons monster. In particular, ones that do appear in the brand new movie. I haven't seen the new movie, so I can't remember the names of some of these. Only a couple of them actually have names. So we'll just go by the creature name. Excuse me if I get a few details wrong here, but we're starting with the Beholder in its traditional orange color. And this is about as solid as the D20s look. So you can see how they transform. They tried to keep a lot of the transformation cuts along the edge of the D20s, so the faces are as clean as possible. And they are legible. So you can see there's the 17, there's the 7, there's the 1, don't want to roll that. There's a piece with some of the skin texture on it as the 19. The only real blemish on this particular D20 is that big hinge that's kind of the key to this whole transformation on the 6. And then all of them have the Dungeons & Dragons logo painted on as the 20. I will tell you right now, these are not meant for rolling. You cannot actually play a game of D&D with these without breaking this because it's made of thin panels and hinges. It's also horribly unbalanced, so it's not exactly something that's going to be fair to roll. So, let's get into transformation, because none of these are complex in transformation, so we're going to buzz through these pretty quickly here. So, the Beholder is by far the easiest one. So, to transform him, I'm going to just see if I can find where the panels open up. Oh, yeah. We're just going to open up all of those to get those eye stalks out. Speaking of eye stalks, we have a few of these little rubbery ones down here. Hinge the whole head up to get out of this little thing. And then there's extra panels here in the back that we can also open up. And there's an extra eye stalk there. And then we'll do the same over here. There's an extra eye stalk popping out there. And that's pretty much it for the Beholder. What do you expect? It's a dodecahedron transforming into a ball-shaped creature with tentacles. That's pretty much exactly what I expected it to do. So, yeah, it's not the most complex of transformations, but you shouldn't have expected it to be. So, as a Beholder, the jaw does open up wide. You can see his tongue and everything is painted in black inside. Teeth are a softer plastic, so those are not going to break on you at any point. And then, yeah, these soft rubbery plastic for these tendrils here. These eye stalks, you can see they all have the same style eye painted on them. So eye stalk, eye stalk, eye stalk, eye stalk, and then 2 back here. Yeah, on the panel as well. So you got a ton. You got 10 eye stalks going all at once. That's a lot of beams. That's a lot of TPKs. This thing is ready to roll out. I also like the airbrushing they did. There's like little subtle hints of purple throughout the orange here. So there's a lot of little sculpted detail and painted that looks really, really nice. You can see where that texturing on those two sides came in handy. But as Dicelings go, it's definitely the weakest of the batch, just because, yeah, well, it unfolds a bunch of eye stalks and, you know, that's it. So, not a whole lot. You're not going to get a whole lot out of the Beholder unless you really love it. And it's one of the most popular D&D monsters, so understandable if you do. I still do. Alright, let's do a dragon. This is one of the black dragons that appears in the movie. The D20 is pretty much the same. There are some big hinge differences here, so you can see where that is really compromised. The 1 is still visible, though. So they are still trying to make this like seem like a full D20, even if it's going to be a little bit jank in some spots. There's our 20 side. All right. We crack him open like an egg by splitting everything in half. So so you'll see how a lot of these are going to transform is mostly dependent on shell forming. No surprise considering what it is. And then everything just kind of tucks up inside. It is shell forming we have not seen since Beast Wars Neo, but it is kind of a necessity with this little gimmick. Now, I will say, folding the dragon back into the ball is the hardest part, is remembering exactly how all the parts just kind of fold together. Personally, I just kind of like find a spot where they kind of fit together themselves, and hopefully mash them in the right direction to get them to go back to where they were. So, it's not the most exact method of transforming these things, but hey, it works. It gets it back into a ball. And we rotate the little claws around, and that's going to be it for the black dragon. This is one with a name I cannot remember offhand. But, yeah, so, yeah, we get this. Here, let's at least get him into some kind of dignified position here. So, yeah, D20 turns into this, you know, kind of interesting little black dragon with interestingly shaped wings. Now, given a black dragon, I kind of find that excusable. Like, the wings just kind of being rough kind of fits the tone of a black dragon. Not gonna lie. You can see the paintwork here is pretty exact here. Lots of green, the metallic green on the inside for all that acid that it's going to spew. You've got this metallic underside on the underbelly. That green is also apparent here along the spines all the way down the back, and there's the fin on the tail as well. The downside to the black dragon, while everything seems nicely painted, the head is soft plastic, including the horns, which means that being folded up in that ball, if it is not in the right position, those horns are not gonna look nice. You know, you can see how, you know, warped, to the point where I'm not even sure which of these horns is correct in its direction and which one is the one that's actually warped. I believe this is the correct one. So you can see, like, it got pretty bad here depending on how it's jammed together. It does have an opening mouth at least, so you have that going for you. The paintwork sells the dragon, I think. You know, and of course, you know, a D20 turning into a dragon is absolutely awesome. And yeah, there is enough articulation. You saw it's almost everything in the articulation is used in the transformation. So ball joints at the ankles and the wrists. You got elbows. You got knees with the digitigrade legs. A little bit of not much outward motion on the hips, but you know, you get enough to work with. You know, heads rotate and all that. So you got plenty of room here. And then the tail is just like articulated all over the place. So you get a pretty good, like, little tiny dragon action figure out of this D20. So definitely one of the highlight molds of this whole thing. And I guess that is going to be true of the red dragon as well, considering it is the same mold with a brand new head. So we can just go ahead and crack straight into him, get him unfolded too. It's kind of like watching a dragon come out of an egg, you know? If a dragon was fully grown when it came out of the egg. Alright, so undo that. Get all the arms and such, like, fold it out of the way. Yeah. Yeah, so the transfer, you know, these are not the most complex things in the world to transform, so I will give them that. So, and considering, like, it's Dungeons and Dragons, like, they're marketing this for the movie, so it's not like they're going for, like, hardcore Transformer fans who want super complicated stuff. They're just trying to make a buck here. So, a more casual transformation experience is pretty much what they should be going for. That's pretty much what you got here. Like, nothing's nothing is like too obtuse. Nothing here is like too out of place. It all just kind of works as long as you can remember how to fold it back up into the ball. Everything else is good. All right. Like you said, the red dragon runs pretty much the same way as your black dragon. Blue on the inside of the wings rather than the green. Different head sculpt as well. Thankfully, his horns are much smaller and harder to get malformed. Again, you have the opening and closing jaw. Everything else pretty much runs the same. The one thing I will say, like, I think the red brings out a lot of the sculpted detail better than the black does. But I do like the metallic green on the inside of the wings rather than the blue. So that actually looks a little bit, I don't know, like a little bit cheaper to me, I guess. Also, the hinges on the wings, like, they really have to be stiff in order for this to work. If you got a loose, if they're loose, like mine on the red dragon are a little bit loose, it's really hard to get those wings to stay in a spot where they actually look good. In general, I wish there was like one more point of like motion to the wings so that I could put them in like a really nice position. But you know, you got to work with what you can. I mean, Dicelings are pretty cheap too, so it's not like it's not like they're gonna go all out on the budget trying to get like every nuance of transformation into these things. So there are your dragons, which just leaves us with one. This off-white one with a gold D&D symbol on the top. This is our Owlbear, and I'll go ahead and tell you it's my favorite of the batch. So this one's a little bit more broken up across the D20. In some instances, it's actually like divided across the numbers, which you'll notice the others tried very hard to avoid. But on the Owlbear, not a whole lot of options, so they just kind of went with it. All right. Once again, this one does rely on a lot of shell forming. However, this one's going to be a little bit more interesting in the transformation process. I will say getting this one back into the ball is actually a little bit more challenging than the others, simply because there's so many more panels to it. Like, you know, you used to have these connections that fold over. You've got these pieces that'll have to fold inside. There's a lot of collapsing panels here in order to make the Owlbear work. And it does make it a little bit fiddly to get it all the way back into the D20 mode. So let me rotate his main body around, and then we can raise this up and rotate the head like so. Let me get his feet out into their proper spots. You can see almost all of this Owlbear and almost all that D20 is going to end up in the arms. So we got a little bit on the back that we can fold down, and then if I can remember very quickly how the arms are supposed to go. So, you see, there, so I can remember. There's something I just remember the arms do have a lot of weirdness to them. So, hear me out. All right. It's going to seem a little bit scuffed, but as far as I can tell, that's exactly how the designers intended it. So we're going to work with what we got here. We're going to work with what we got. All right, so this is going to be about as good as I can get here. So right off the bat, yeah, he is arms. He is a whole lot of arms. Yeah, so Owlbears are pretty big in the arms in the first place, so this isn't completely off. It is weird because the arms themselves are made of a lot of thin panels. There are a lot of sections like this where they're just kind of hanging off because they're trying to replicate the look of like what is left of the Owlbear's wings on the arms. So that's, so it's got that going too. The idea here is to just try to get as many of those feathers pointed forward as possible, which you generally do by keeping this elbow joint pointed forward like that, so those arms could point this way. So that's going to put all those feathers up front. It's going to give you these little vestigial wings. They're a little bit useless now. But overall, like, I do like the look of the Owlbear better than the dragons. Like, overall, I do think it is the better transformation amongst the four. That's going to be a personal preference. Maybe it's a preferential thing to owlbears, but I like dragons too, so maybe not that. What gets me about the owlbear is just how much deco got into the wings in order to create the feathered look. That looks really, really nice to me. You get a little bit of airbrushing on the paws as well, both on the feet and the hands. You get a fully detailed head as well, with the eyes painted in really nicely. Even across the back, you've still got more of that feathering, both in little dots of brown as well as the sculpting being really done well. And for articulation, yeah, you've got ball joints in the hips. They don't go outward, they're kept simple, but you do have a knee bend, you have a ball joint in the ankle, you have a rotation here in the front paw, which is a little bit awkward, but it's usable. Shoulders ball jointed, elbows ball jointed. You got some good rotation and motion in those. That works well. And then, yeah, you have the owl head that is also on a ball joint. Plenty of motion and rotation there. So, yeah, he actually works really, really well for what he is. Yes, the arms are made of a bunch of flat panels. All these are going to sacrifice a little bit for the sake of the gimmick, but I do think that gives them a little bit of weirdness and charm that I kind of like. So that, my friends, is going to be your Dicelings transforming D20 stuff, transforming D&D stuff. Never thought I'd see it, but here we are. And we've got a whole arrangement and more on the way. Wave 2 is up for pre-order now, and Wave 1 seems to be coming back as well. So it's good to see the first run of these sold out, because I want more of them. So, as always, thank you for watching. If you liked what you saw, then I'm going to leave a link in the description to go order these from Entertainment Earth. They're about to get Wave 1 back in stock. Pre-orders are up for Wave 2. If you wait for them to be back in stock, that link below is going to save you 10% as well. And if your order is over $35, you're going to get free shipping too. I like when I can give you links that give you guys deals. So if you like them, there's your option to go get them. And I thank you for using it, and I thank you for watching. I will see you next time. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.